Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to Shady Holiday. Hello there, it is I, your unfriendly neighborhood Skeletor. Now today, I, Skeletor, am going to react to a new channel called Minty Comedic Arts. Now this Minty has a series of top 10 things you didn't know. I could write a book about the things that you all don't know. But today's video is going to be top 10 things you didn't know about He-Man. Now, in my opinion, 10 things is 10 things too many. The only things I want to know about He-Man is where is he and when is he leaving? But I digress. Let's see what Minty knows that I, Skeletor, don't know about He-Man. And maybe I can get a little insight that could help me in my quest to defeat He-Man and conquer Castle Grayskull. Now, before we start, I encourage you all to go visit Minty's channel and give him a subscribe. Anyway, enough of this blathering. Let's watch this thing, shall we? Well, if your research was so thorough, why didn't you ask me, Skeletor? I could have given you some juicy details. For example, how much toilet paper does he waste? FYI, I have it on good authority that he's way more efficient as He-Man than he is as Adam in that area, which actually comes as a surprise. I guess the power of Castle Grayskull not only gives him superhuman powers, but also gives him a superhuman digestive system. Unlike me, I'm backed up all the time, and I waste a lot.
And the top 10 countdown by Minty. You know the cartoon. You know that glorious hairdo.
Glorious hairdo? What are you talking about? That muscle-bound moron simply walks into a barber shop and asks, "Give me the Ringo Starr special." And that's it. Glorious hair, my bony behind.
And of course you remember having the power. But most of all, you remember the toys, where kids from the 80s could have the power in the comforts of their own homes.
And not just the kids from the 80s, as you can plainly see by Shady's collection, that it applies to the adults of the 80s as well.
And play with their He-Man action figures and He-Man playsets and vehicles. But above all, He-Man was the defender of the secrets of the Castle Grayskull, a champion hero of the mystical world of Eternia.
And a constant pain in my ass.
A bulging muscle man who gets his superhuman strength by summoning magical powers from his power sword.
How original!
An action-packed story full of many characters, not forgetting, of course, He-Man's ultimate foe, the evil Skeletor, who wants to steal the secrets of Grayskull for his own evil use.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Listen, I am not nice, I am not kind, and I am not wonderful.
You guys will never let me live that down, will you? A villain shows one moment of weakness and caring, and you're labeled nice for life. Well, get this through your heads, once and for all. I, Skeletor, am not nice.
Yes, over the years we have seen He-Man comics, TV shows, toys, and even a movie, which, oddly enough, featured a lot of fried chicken.
Well, the movie was horrible, but I, Skeletor, was probably the best part of that film, despite my odd look and weird British accent.
As over the years, He-Man has become a celebrated piece of childhood pop culture that is adored by all ages. So get ready to have the power.
This guy's room looks a lot like Shady's, extremely nerdy.
As today, we open up the secrets of Grayskull and look into 10 things that you may not know about He-Man. So, before we can ask how can a superhero have a dual identity just by removing their clothes, let's check it out. Number 10. He-Man exists because of Star Wars.
So, George Lucas is to blame for bringing that steroid-popping do-gooder into my life. Now take my revenge on you next, Lucas. For that, and also selling Star Wars to Disney. And don't forget Metachlorians. I can't forgive you for that either.
In the late 70s, toy company Mattel had huge successes with its Hot Wheels brand and Barbie, but hadn't struck gold yet in the action figure market. But after a space movie called Star Wars came out, the game was now changed as toy company Kenner struck gold with their 3.75-inch Star Wars action figurines. The irony being that Mattel was offered to create the Star Wars action figures by Lucasfilm, but turned it down, thinking that it wouldn't be successful. Whoops.
These short-sighted fools. I mean, look at how well Kenner is doing today.
So Mattel knew that this was the future of toys. So to keep up with Star Wars, Mattel tried toy lines with Flash Gordon and Battlestar Galactica, but they were both unsuccessful. So Mattel decided to create their own toy line franchise. Enter toy designer Roger Sweet, who wanted a toy hero who focused on muscular strength and build.
Probably after a homoerotic dream he had.
A figure so strong and toned he would overshadow all them pesky Star Wars figures.
And Mattel was like, I like the design, I like his look, but why can't he wear pants? And he was like, no pants for him, and we need to see his nipples at all times. Alright, if you say so, that's what kids like, pantsless men and nipples.
And thus He-Man was born. Number 9, early designs. In the early days of He-Man's designs, he looked a lot different to how he would go on to look. The then dark-haired warrior more resembled a caveman barbarian, as it seemed a muscle-bound ancient warrior was the look that Mattel was going for.
And no resemblance to Conan the Barbarian whatsoever. Hold on, it's my lawyer.
He may be huge, but he's still a little baby at heart.
It was also important to give He-Man a battle face, almost as if the figure itself was in the middle of a battle.
Well, either that or a hard bowel movement.
As Sweet felt that most figures at the time just had boring plain looks on their faces. In fact, 3 prototypes were created in order to try and come up with a champion hero for Mattel to base its new figure toy brand on.
New from the Masters of the Universe toy line. Tank Face. Part hero, part tank, but all man. Falcalorian. The love child of Boba Fett and the Falcon. Falcalorian. And of course, hairy back He-Man. Complete with chest piece helmet and self-impaling axe. Why is he holding the axe like this? Like he's about to impale himself with the blunt end. New toy line from Mattel.
The other 2 candidates were Tank Man and Bullethead, who surprisingly looked a lot like Boba Fett from Star Wars. Yeah, had they gone with that design, it wouldn't have been about having the power, but more about having the power of a good lawyer when getting sued for copyright infringement.
Yeah, that was probably for the best. They say never accept the first designs.
Number 8, He-Man originally couldn't fit in his own castle.
Probably due to his enormous ego.
Castle Grayskull is the mystical and powerful fortress of Eternia, which acts as a home for the sorceress and a sort of command center for He-Man. However, Grayskull was originally created as a toy, so children could have a unique and alien setting that was different when playing with their He-Man action figures. And it also acted as a cool storage case for the figurines themselves, which was pretty awesome. However, when the Grayskull prototype was made, the mouth door was too small for the He-Man action figure to get in. Designer Mark Taylor insisted that the kids could turn their He-Man figures on their sides and have them enter the castle that way.
That guy would have made a horrible real estate agent. He-Man's like, I don't know if I like it. I mean, for one thing, I can't fit through the door. And he's like, it's okay, just walk in sideways, it'll be fine. And He-Man's like, what if I want to move a couch? Just get a sectional, it'll be alright. I don't know. I'm gonna keep looking.
But thankfully the castle was redesigned with a doorway that could accommodate for the buff that is He-Man. Number 7. The hideous backstory behind Skeletor.
This sounds like it's about to get personal. I'm not sure I'm going to like where this is heading.
A hero can only be as good as his villain, and He-Man has the most memorable villain in the form of Skeletor.
Flattery will get you nowhere.
Quite possibly one of the greatest bad guys to come out of the 1980s. The iconic skull face and hood with muscular form as strong as He-Man's instantly makes him a fan favourite.
I changed my mind. I like him. He's got impeccable taste.
I could write a book about what you don't know.
And I have. And it's called Everything That You Fools Don't Know About. You can pick it up at Amazon.
But where did this crazy bone-faced ghoul come from? Well, Skeletor was created by artist Mark Taylor.
Daddy! Skelly! It's me, your boy Skelly! Remember me? It's been so long since I've seen my father. And no, I don't have daddy issues for the record.
And his genesis for the character dates all the way back to a creepy real-life experience he had when he was a kid, where one day he was at an amusement park where he visited a haunted house-style attraction, and inside the creepy funhouse was a real-life decaying body, along with a decayed skull-like face, which terrified the young Taylor and lingered in his mind throughout his life, till he used the terrifying experience as a source of inspiration to create Skeletor.
This news is extremely disturbing to me. So what are you trying to tell me? That I was just some dude's haunting nightmare? No wonder I turned out so evil. I didn't even have a chance.
Kudos to Taylor. Had that happened to me, I don't think I would be inventing Skeletor, but rather having therapy.
Well, after hearing this, I'm the one who's going to be seeking therapy.
Number 6, alternative title. Originally, the He-Man brand was simply going to be called, well, He-Man. Both short and sweet and straight to the point. However, Mattel's marketing division wasn't happy with the name and felt it lacked the punch that other toy brands like Star Wars had. And several names were proposed for this epic battle of muscle bulging good versus skeletal evil, including Lords of Power. But that was rejected as it was considered too religious.
Lords of Power seems too religious. Nah, I don't see it. After all, there was a lot of things called Lords at the time. Lords of London, the House of Lords. I don't know. That being said, I prefer Masters of the Universe.
So then literally at the last minute, Masters of the Universe was put together.
I'm actually surprised that the vocals have yet to complain about the word Masters.
To which Mattel accepted, despite the fact that those behind He-Man didn't like the name and thought it was, quote, bragging.
Yes, exactly. And what's wrong with that?
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Honest men do an honest day's work.
But let's be honest, when we were kids, we didn't call the cartoon Masters of the Universe, we just simply called it He-Man. I did not know one other kid who called it Masters of the Universe.
Well, my kids would have called it Skeletor in the Warlords of the Universe. Well, that's if I had kids.
Number 5, the cartoon was created to give the toys a backstory. So when the powers that be behind the He-Man, now Masters of the Universe brand, were about ready to release their battle figurines in 1982, the big question was asked. How would kids know who these characters are?
Well, they did come with a little comic book, which had a completely different backstory than did the cartoon. And to be honest, I like the cartoon version better, which I know some of you probably don't.
And how could they be interested in them? So it was decided to give each figure its own comic book, which gave each character a backstory, so kids knew which figure was good and which ones are the villains. Problem solved, right? Well, no, as it was then put forth that most kids who play with the figures probably weren't reading yet.
Not reading yet? They're like 6 years old. What's with all these Mattel employees bringing up illiterate children? Some kids are doing complex equations by 6, and they can't read a simple comic book? They should have called child services on them.
So it was decided to have a cartoon tie-in to go with the figures. The original plan was to have a few animated specials, but then Filmation got on board and an entire animated series was created. The cartoon did change some of the backstory that Mattel had already created, namely giving He-Man a Clark Kent-styled alter ego in the form of the bumbling Prince Adam.
It's funny how they thought to change his personality, and yet made him look exactly the same, except for a tan. I mean, they could have at least given him some Clark Kent glasses or something.
And the show had become more comical and lighthearted than originally planned.
I like getting a tan, but this is ridiculous.
But hey, it's the oddball antics of the show that made it so memorable, along with the show's closing moral lessons, to convince the parents that their kids had not just watched a giant toy commercial, but in fact the show was also there to educate their kids.
Yes, educate them on buying the toys. Maybe that's why they're illiterate.
Drugs don't make your problems go away. They just create more.
Well, according to Mattel, these kids were thinking about doing drugs before they could even read. Children, Skeletor says, books are the real power.
Number 4, She-Ra was created because of a huge female fan base.
Well, if girls did like He-Man, it was probably because they were attracted to my bony good looks and manly physique. I've always been a lady killer.
Even though He-Man was marketed as a boy's product, 20% of the fan base were in fact young girls.
20%? That's quite a lot of randy girls, I'd say. Ladies, please, don't hate me because I'm beautiful. Remember, I'm not just some piece of meat for you to gawk at. I have feelings too, you know. Love me for my mind, not my body. Nah, what do I care? I don't even care if you hate me.
Who also wanted to join in the epic Battle of Eternia. So much so that the He-Man toy brand was by far outperforming female-marketed toy lines such as Barbie.
Suck that, Barbie.
So to continue this success of marketing Masters of the Universe to be enjoyed by both genders, She-Ra was created, so young female watchers could have an alternative hero that they could root for. Where in 1985, He-Man's twin sister, Adora, started her own exciting battles of good versus evil.
Sounds to me like Mattel made a big mistake by making them siblings. I think they would have probably sold more if they made them romantic partners instead. Then again, if they sell the rights to the guys from Game of Thrones, that may not be a problem.
With her own series and toy range. To which the She-Ra Princess of Power brand became just as big and as influential as He-Man itself, proving that badass adventures involving monsters and swords knows no gender bounds. Number 3, He-Man did battle with Superman.
That's true, and Shady also has the comic. By the way, I'm digging this guy's music selection. Too bad I'm probably gonna have to dub something over it for copyright reasons. But it's pretty good. I wanna rock!
He-Man may be the most powerful being of Eternia, but how would Grayskull's champion fare up against the last son of Krypton himself? Well, to the joy of lovers of both franchises, this epic confrontation happened in a DC comic special called Superman and the Masters of the Universe, where a portal from Eternia to Earth is opened.
Well, that seems to happen quite a lot, actually. After all, that's how I got here, wasn't it?
And when investigating, Superman goes through the portal to Eternia, and after a brief battle with He-Man...
Why do they always have to make the heroes fight? I don't understand. I mean, both these heroes have do-gooder instincts. Neither of them would be like, hey, there's a stranger here. Let's fight. Hey, stranger, you're not from around here? No, I came from Earth. Why, my mom's from Earth. Is her name Martha? No, thank God. What's the deal with your outfit? How come you're wearing armor with no pants? Well, you're one to talk. I'm not taking any fashion sense from someone who wears his underwear on the outside of his pants, like some clown. Well, at least I'm wearing pants. I'm not wearing some brown diaper. Diaper! Them's fighting words. And that, my friends, is how it would happen. Probably invite him in for cake or something. But tell me in the comments, if Superman and He-Man were to fight, who do you think would win?
Superman and He-Man joined forces to stop Skeletor. Who knows, maybe He-Man's mother's name is secretly Martha too.
Why did you say that name? What a stupid line. Still can't get over it.
A story about a portal going from Eternia to Earth. This does sound familiar.
I told you, interdimensional portals happen all the time. It's a thing. Deal with it.
Number 2. The movie was attempted to keep the toys alive. Although He-Man and the Masters of the Universe had great success in the early 80s, as the later 80s kicked in, so did children's love for other new franchises, such as Transformers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. As within 1 year, the toy profits dropped from 400 million to a measly 7 million. It was time to take a new approach to breathe new life into the franchise.
So they produced a horrible film and killed the franchise. Good going.
So the Canon-produced Masters of the Universe movie was released in 1987. The exciting He-Man movie where we see our heroes from the mystical world of Eternia go on an adventure in, New Jersey?
Well, to be fair, New Jersey is the closest thing I've seen to the swamplands of Eternia. Reminds me of home.
In a film that mainly follows a young Courtney Cox and her teenage anxieties about leaving her boyfriend and dealing with her parents' death.
Nothing says Masters of the Universe more than Courtney Cox complaining about her boyfriend problems.
If you break up with Kevin Corrigan, you will regret it for the rest of your life.
Yeah, this movie did fall well away from the original source material, to say the least.
It was horrible, but I'd still take this over Masters of the Universe Revelation any day.
Even the movie's star, Dolph Lundgren, who played He-Man, felt weird about it.
He just didn't want to wear the outfit. Even he thought Schwarzenegger was a no-brainer for He-Man. He was like, what? Me, He-Man? Get Schwarzenegger. He did Conan. Perfect fit. Can you imagine? By the power of Grayskull, I have the power. Skeletor, I'll be back. May not have been a perfect He-Man, but a far more entertaining He-Man nonetheless.
As he was, in his own words, playing an action figure. Although the movie has become a cult classic and considered by many to be so bad it's good, back in the late 80s it disappointed fans with its weird direction and lack of consistency with the cartoon, and hence it didn't really help the He-Man brand.
And I know there are a whole bunch of you in the comments are like, Skeletor, when are you going to react to the Masters of the Universe film? To that I say, keep your loincloths on. I will in due time. I got a whole lot of things I still have to react to, but I'll get there eventually.
Number 1. He-Man in Space.
He-Man in Space! Ace!
So in a last-ditch effort to help keep He-Man alive, a new cartoon and toy line was released in 1990, called The New Adventures of He-Man. But just like the Masters of the Universe movie, it didn't catch on and strayed way too far away from the original source material. It no longer felt mystical with its sorcery, but felt more space age with more of a science fiction element.
Next, Mattel's going to try underwater He-Man. Jungle He-Man. He-Man goes to school. Anything to keep this property going.
When the show was being shown on TV, I actually originally didn't know it was a He-Man cartoon until I saw a commercial for the figurines.
This seems more further removed to the original than the new 3D animated Netflix He-Man. And there's no leg day having physique.
He-Man didn't match what he had previously looked like, as he was now more slimmed down and had blue pants and a ponytail.
Blue pants? He must have gotten that idea after meeting Superman.
Proving to the fan base to be an unpopular makeover. The show only lasted one season before being cancelled and slipping into obscurity. Well guys, that was my look into He-Man, a name that has become a prominent part to many people's childhoods and the 80s in general. A show that allowed us to go to the strange world of Eternia and go on many exciting adventures. Anyway, I'm Minty.
Well, you may be Minty, my friend, but I, Skeletor, you'll always be sour.
And I have the power, and so do you. See ya.
So there you have it. 10 things you didn't know about He-Man. I can't say that I didn't know any of the 10 things. I knew most of them, but it was entertaining nonetheless. Are there any things that you know about He-Man that I, Skeletor, should know? If there is, leave it in the comments. Also, don't forget to go on to Minty Comedic Arts' page and give him a subscribe if you like this. He's got plenty other Masters of the Universe top 10 lists if you're interested. Anyway, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to Shadeyology as well. Until next time.